Mike Shank, Jack Harvey, they just announced they're going to run 6 races this year in the IndyCar series, including the Indy 500, with a goal of full-time. My whole deal was, in 2012, when you bought a car, it was like, great, here's an open-wheel guy, he's young, he wants to do this for the next 20 years, this is what IndyCar needs. You couldn't get an engine, and yet you stuck with it and came back and just bought a new car. Was there a time when you just said, you know what, I've done everything I can. I think I've shown these people I want to do this, and nobody's helping me. The hell with it. I'll just be a sports car guy.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I had many fights about this. I mean, we lost 180 grand along with a guy named Brian Bailey, who owns Rocky Fork, one of these companies, and we thought we were done forever, to be honest with you. But opportunity knocks sometimes at the weirdest times, and with the new guys, you know, Jay Fry at the helm and Mark Miles there, they made sure nothing went wrong this time. So we got to do the Indianapolis 500 and meet Jack and AutoNation and Sirius, and that's what really, you know, really got this thing going. You know, we had a mediocre kind of Indy 500, but it established a lot, just not between Jack and I, but also between our partners. They want to do something. They appreciate us. Listen, they could go in the paddock to any team they wanted to, honestly. But I said in the conference today, all it takes is one group to say, you know what, you're going to get your chance. And this is what Jack and I both have got.
Yeah. Jackson, you won in Europe, you won in England, you won Indy Lights, you almost won the Indy Lights Championship. Yet all that, in this day and age, is not good enough. You got to be a salesman. So when you're an 18-year-old Formula 4 driver, you're not thinking about being a salesman, but because of you, AutoNation, Sirius, you put this whole deal together. That's got to be tougher than driving.
It's the hardest part of this job, honestly. The driving is the fun part. You know, getting to the track and enjoying and trying to do what I think I do best. That's the good part of this job. The tough thing is obviously trying to go out and sell yourself, which honestly, for anyone who hasn't done it, it's awkward. You know, it's tough and it's awkward, and you try and balance being humble and modest, but also trying to sell yourself. It's tough. And after I won the Freedom 100 in 15, that's how I got connected with AutoNation. Actually, Sam sold me off for date night, believe it or not, and that's how they bought me. They bid it on me for date night, won. They often say now that that's the worst thing they ever did because it's so expensive for them. But you know, we started building a relationship with AutoNation from 2015. They were my primary sponsor moving into the 500. Obviously, then
and they're a big deal.
Third largest car retailer in North America. It's a huge deal. You know, they were the ones really who made my Indy 500 effort happen, and obviously with what happened in May with Fernando coming and whatnot, brought me and Michael together. And Michael didn't know me, but I certainly knew his team and everything that he was achieving in the sports car world. And honestly, I was still confident. You know, we sat down, Michael called me as soon as I was told and said, look, I just want to reassure you that we're going to give it everything you've got. And I said, look, Michael, it's not a problem for me. I believe you. I had no reason to at that point because I'd never met him in person. But
he's actually one of the 3 honest crooners left in North America.
The thing about Michael I like the most is, and I think there's a common theme of what people say about him, is the story is the same. He's a very honest. His integrity is through the roof, and if he's got bad news, he's still going to deliver that to you. But we're going to work together on it after. So we met at the 500. I feel bad for the guys that we weren't able to get the results that I think we deserved as a team, because honestly, there were some really good things brewing, and we got niggle after niggle, and it made it tough. And I think what was so nice about all this coming together, without jumping the gun, is we're now going to go back together to the Indy 500, having done a couple of races, having done some tests, and I think go and show what we were about to show in the 500 this year. Honestly, if you're asking me now, I think we had a top 8 day brewing at the Indy 500, which for everything that we went through on that month was amazing. So then we continued talking. Sirius and AutoNation both stepped up and said, look, we want to do something a little bit more. What do we do? And I said, right, we need to go and speak to Michael, because I don't know how he does it, but I totally believe in him. You know, when he tells me this is all we've got, then I know that's everything he's got. We sat down in Detroit, we chatted a bit about it, how we thought it might play out, and we got here. You know, so we are lucky in the sense that we've got great partners. I'm very lucky that I've got 2 great teams, obviously with it being with Schmidt, Peterson, Motorsports as well. I know Sam from my Indy Lights time. He was the guy who brought me to North America in the first place. This to me is a dream come true. And it's crazy how these things kind of work themselves out, because you definitely don't see it when you're going through the bad days. Yeah. But to be here today, I think what also is amazing, and obviously they're on the boards behind us, but it's the amount of people that support Michael as well, you know, like who helped him for a long time, and then when he said we were going to go to the Indy 500, continue to help him. I'll continue to help him for, you know, next season as well, and that's testament to what a guy you are, Michael, honestly, you know, and
I gave him too much credit.
You've got a very open and honest communication line, even at some tough phone calls. So
okay, you bought a new car the other day. Explain to people how this works. I know Marshall did a podcast with you, but it's some of your crew in Sam's shop putting Jack's car and running Jack's car out of his shop.
The exact detail of it will be the initial build of the car will happen in SPM, and then once we are done with that, it'll come to Shank's shop over in Columbus, Ohio, and we'll work on it there. So technically, we can do everything by emails and wire. Their engineer will come back and forth. We'll have a lot of Route 70 east and west going, a lot of it. But it's important for me in all of this, as good as Sam Schmidt is and Rick Peterson, you know, we have to, you know, the goal of this is to establish our team in IndyCar, right? And at some point, we'd like to be able to do that. We have a multi-year deal with Schmidt right now, and I'm totally fine with that. In the future, we want to go full-time racing, and hopefully soon.
Can you tell people what will your 6 races be?
I can tell you the first 3, which will be St. Pete, Long Beach, and the Indianapolis 500, and then we're working on kind of the last 3, but there are 6 races for sure.
And I think Mike Shank I think your racing team started out with like 3 people, and now you've got...
I mean, we've got 22 full-time, and we bring 30 to the track now. So for the IndyCar program, we'll have probably 14 people on the ground at each event. We're going to have some cross-pollination between sports car and IndyCar, and my guys are 100% up for this. We have a couple new guys that have IndyCar experience, but we have the same group that have been with me for... My engineer, Dale Wise, has been with me since 1994. And
born in 93.
Think about that. Think about that.
Jeez, don't rub it in.
So we have great, loyal people that are really intelligent that want to do this.
But there's no pressure, because Sam just reminded us what happened the last time he had a partnership like this.
Just a win at the 500 with Dan Weldon, with an English guy. An English guy.
That could be good karma.
Pressure back towards me. That's fine.
But like, when you think about, you ran 3 races last year, and you're giving up all this test. All these guys have been testing and run all year. It's such a hard thing to get into. So last year was a learning curve. You had some the worst luck ever at Indy. That wasn't anything to do with you guys. If this year is going to be better, because you're going to be on the track and you're going to get to do some testing.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're not exactly sure when the first time we'll be on track is, but you can bet your bottom dollar that the St. Pete won't be the first time that car has been driven competitively. And I think that was what was nice about how this all came together. It was clear from the get-go that we'd rather do less races but be prepared to absolutely deliver on every single one of them. Doing last year was great. I'm not going to say it wasn't thrown in the deep end a couple of times. You know, going to the 500 without testing and trying to go through rookie orientation, and then just how that week unfolds. I'd never been to Watkins Glen, and then suddenly I'm in, you know, IndyCar again on the road course. It was tough. That being said, nothing happened that I didn't think I can do. You know, I didn't feel totally out of my depth at any point. I think I, you know, drove pretty well, and on those races I made good progression. I was certainly comparable to my teammate that weekend, which was James Hinchcliffe. All I really needed and hoped for was the opportunity. Everybody at Michael Shank Racing, Schmidt Peterson Motorsport, all of our primary sponsors on the board behind us, my management team, they've given me this opportunity. Now it's my turn to go out there and try and deliver the best results I can to say thank you. The best way to say thank you to these guys is getting a good result on track. And, you know, we've spoken about expectations and what we think are realistic. And, you know, if we're where we want to be, I think there's an opportunity this year, 1 or 2 times, to shock a few people. And
well, that's what's been good about this series, is all the different people have stepped up and won races or been on the podium or stuff. All right, Michael Shank Motorsports, also known as I Won't Quit, Persistent Motorsports. Jack's gone out and found Auto Nation, Sirius XM. A lot of people happy for these guys. Honda made it happen, and hopefully someday he'll be a full-time guy, and hopefully this microphone's on, because TV's Dave First has shot this video twice for the asshole that don't know how to turn on the microphone. Thanks for watching RACER.com.